Elaine, we're doing this interview today to talk particularly about a new course you are involved with in the Near Media Co-op. Before we talk about that though, as seeing as this is my first interview with you, could you start off by telling our listeners a bit about the job you have in the Near Media Co-op?
Sure, yeah. I'm the community television coordinator with the Media Co-op. So I sort of look after the day-to-day management in Near TV. But I'm also linked with Near FM, obviously, so it kind of goes back and forth as well. So I do training for as part of the broadcast journalism degree with Choill as well. So that's sort of podcast training and radio training. And yeah, so we produce programs for DCTV, which is on Virgin Media 802. And in a similar way to the radio, I suppose we have a community development ethos in the way we produce TV, so it's quite different from how more commercial television is produced.
Yeah, just I was aware of DCTV a good few years ago because my friend, I think you know him, David Quinn, was involved with this for a while.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I thought DCTV closed down or something. But did that happen? What happened?
It did. Yeah, what happened was there was issues around funding. So it's actually it's still there, but it's just the scheduler. There's been issues with scheduler, and so it's just sort of on repeat a lot of the time. So there's very little content going up at the moment, but it's still there, and they're hoping to relaunch. Well, hopefully next year. I suppose we've probably been saying that for a few years now, but they do have a new scheduler, and with a bit of luck, we'll have some good news soon, and we'll be able to sort of drive people more in that direction. At the moment, Near TV predominantly we show our stuff online, and on the website, and so it'll be lovely to be able to kind of promote that side of it again. I know TV is sort of, people often think of it as a old medium, but it just gives such a different legitimacy to the content. I think people still like to be able to watch it on telly.
Just before we move on, DCTV, is it available like on all the kind of television platforms in Ireland?
No, it is just Virgin Media, and it's quite up there in terms of the numbers 802. So yeah, you do need to have the subscription. And our work is on the website, and other DCTV content is on dctv.ie. So it is there. But yeah, hopefully, if we talk this time next year, I'll have better news, and I'll be saying, that there's a lot more activity going on, because it's hard, I suppose, when the channel is just struggling so much, just to keep going. The committee are all voluntary. It's amazing sometimes to think that a station is trying to run completely voluntary. It's such little funding. It's all just unfortunate. But hopefully a bit of luck, things will fall right.
Yeah, I haven't got television in my house where I live with my two friends, but my parents have Virgin Television, so I'll be able to check it out. Okay, we move on. This course we're going to talk about now, Elaine. Am I right in saying that it is an international and specialised course?
It's Erasmus Plus project, so it's funded through the European Union, and so we've partners in Germany, Spain, and Hungary. And it's specialised in that it's for teachers, but it's quite broad. So I think there's something in there for sort of beginners as well as people who, I suppose, beginners in terms of teachers, people who train, who might not specifically work in media, but there'll be something in there for them as well. We were trying to sort of, I guess, make sure that people had something in there so they could take from it, as well as some of it is quite detailed and quite specific. Yeah, it's online, so it means that you can go into different sections depending on your interest. You can start from the beginning and just go right through it. It takes about 7 hours, I think, if you look at all the content. But equally, you can go into a specific unit, say media ethics or consumption behaviours and things like that. If you have a particular interest in one area.
I've heard a bit of talk over the last few weeks about Erasmus as regards Northern Ireland and being able to, people in Northern Ireland being able to access Erasmus even though Brexit has happened, and they can't do it in Scotland. Could you just expand a bit more on what Erasmus is? It's some kind of a training program. Can you tell me a bit more about it?
Yes. So they fund, I suppose they fund training throughout Europe, and the idea is to, I suppose, encourage inclusion and participation in cultural diversity. I suppose, and learning from other cultures. So it's a program like that where so we're all working, we get funded for the specific project, and we all come together and we work on that project with a specific outcome. So I find it very beneficial, just even with my own work, that, sometimes you can be quite insular, and I think especially with community media, it's a small group of people, whereas with something like this, we can kind of you can start to see how it might impact in different countries, and then also how the different needs and how different groups work. So we certainly, I think, in the Media Co, we've been kind of working through these European projects for many years, and they give you a lift, and they see that sort of there's another life for the work you're doing, in a way. I know the Spanish partners, they ran this course differently than the way we're doing it. They had 30 people, and they did it as a class, an online class, and they brought people right through it. So it's interesting to see, the different needs, I suppose, as well. You can get so so focused on your own work. The German group, they were very conscious that there's a lot of for them, they talked about a lot of older teachers living in rural communities who wouldn't have a lot of access to media, and they would feel very out of their depths when they're trying to teach young people. Almost the young people would have more knowledge than they would. So their focus was trying to target those people in particular. So that was interesting. I think, it's kind of a different landscape in Ireland, so it's nice to see the contrast. And Erasmus just gives us a way to do that, I suppose. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do it.
Okay, just one or two questions on the modules. You mentioned a couple of them there already. Can you give me a little bit more info on what the modules are going to be in the course?
Sure, yeah. So the website itself is let me just remind myself here. It's wembweebly.com, and you can, so on that website, then there's a link to the course itself. So once you enter into the online course, so this online system we have is what TU Dresden, who's one of our partners, they use this all the time in their university. So that was the platform we were using, and everybody was able to sort of put up their own pick different units and create different content within that. So it's quite broad. It goes from everything from media consumption habits to media and law and discourse analysis, media ethics, and conscious media consumption. And I think the bit that makes it a little bit different as well is that it's heavy enough in terms of ethics and conscious media consumption. And I think that was something that we really wanted to bring in, just coming from the community media background. That's the bit, I suppose, that in particular interests us, that it wouldn't just be a standard media course, that it has this sort of active, that need for people to take an active participation in how they approach media. That's it.
I believe that's the module you're teaching, isn't it? Ethics or something, isn't it? We teach ethics a lot, I think. On the course, on the course, I believe you and Dorothy Muir are teaching that module on ethics, I believe, are you?
Yes, well, what we did was each of the different countries took a different unit. So myself and Dorothy, the outreach coordinator, she was working on it as well, and we took that unit ourselves. So we took that from the work that we do in the Near Media Co-op, the training that we give there, and we just we changed it and altered it so it would work for an online platform. The course itself, so different countries took different units, which was good for us because then we got to see the type of content that they have, and each unit then has assessments as well, where when you finish the unit, you can do a little test to see if you remember anything, which is kind of handy. And then there's also PDF handouts for exercises you can do in the classroom. So that was kind of good. I think it was nice just to give teachers something extra that they can kind of bring into the classroom. Of course, now it's a lot of blended learning and distance learning, so they weren't tailored to that at the time. But at least the online course itself is there to be used, and it's free, so anybody can start it. I know that sometimes when things are free, people don't value them as much, but I think it was really important that we were able to have it open access for people, and that hopefully people will see the value in it, then to go through it in detail.
Okay, just one or two more questions. I won't keep you all day, Elaine.
Sure.
If people want to do the course, or listeners, anyone wants to do the course, do they have to sign up to the whole course, or can they do individual modules, or what's the story?
No, absolutely not. You can do it as you see fit. So when you go into the course itself, it brings you to the portal, and on the left-hand side, you can see all the different units. So you can just click through, let's say you're just interested in media and law and regulations. You can just click on that unit and you'll be brought to that content. And as you go through the content, then you'll then get the little exercise at the end just to reinforce the learning. But yeah, no, absolutely. So you can pick and choose as you go through. Yeah, I think that's a nice aspect
Okay.
of it. Yeah.
Okay. You might have answered this bit of a question already. But what skills and knowledge will people who study the course have when it's finished, in your opinion, Elaine? An understanding of media, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a broader understanding of media, in a sense, it goes through some just the history of media in general as well, so how it all started and where it came from and everything, right back to print. So it's quite broad spanning in that sense, and I think for many teachers, it's what would you say? I think kids these days are getting a bit of media literacy training in schools. But I think we all, when we were growing up, we were given so little, So I think there are quite a few teachers out there who know a little bit about I suppose hate speech or, different technology like that, or different terms like that, and how technology is impacting on younger people. But you don't really have that in-depth, unless you've really studied it, you don't have that much of an in-depth knowledge of how it really works. So this course kind of gives a better understanding of that, particularly the conscious media consumption. There's exercises there where you're asking people to kind of really look at, when you wake up in the morning, what do you do and how do you use your media, and then to think about how it's entering into your consciousness and how it regulates your emotions and different things like that. So for me, I suppose that's an area I'm interested in, and I just feel that that's quite it's quite well done in the course, and it's quite interesting.
Yeah, I've personally believed for a long time, since I was in Clontarf and Wolverhampton University studying journalism nearly 20 years ago. But it's great to know that kids in school nowadays are learning a bit about the media. I think there should be some kind of teaching of the media industries, as regards to companies and all these big Sky and commercial media companies around the world.
Absolutely, yeah.
But also within public service and community as well, because it really makes you more aware of how small the world is when you hear of some of the people like Sky, for example, Rupert Murdoch owning so many stations around the world, and all these it just makes you I think makes you realize how small the world, and it really makes you feel more confident in your ability to understand just the media. I think it's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I agree, and yeah.
Yeah, okay. The course sounds very interesting, Elaine. Just to come towards the end of the interview, can you tell me how people can read up more on the course and tell me when the course starts?
So the website, the website itself is mewb.weebly.com. So that's mewb.weebly.com. And on the course itself, if you click on teaching media, you'll get a drop down with teaching media there. And there's a link in different languages then to the course. So it's available now. It's nearly finishing pilot stage. So we're still making some edits. So we'd certainly be welcome to hear if anybody has any feedback. We'd be delighted to get it. But you can click on the link there and it'll bring you to the course and you can just go through it in your own time.
Oh, so you don't have to do any classes, do you know?
No, that's it. It's all online.
Brilliant. Oh, you don't have to do any Zoom classes, no?
No, exactly. Yeah, that's it. I mean, because as I say, the Spanish group did do it through Zoom, so they just utilize the online with Zoom. But it's there as a course you can just take in your own time. Yeah. So if you can just click on the link and then if you read through the different modules at the end, you'll get a little test, and that test is just for yourself. And it just, the way it'll tell you if you're correct or incorrect, and that's just just in terms of learning, it just reinforces that you've actually achieved something, which is nice when you get a little tick.
That's brilliant, yeah. So you can do the whole.
It's well worth a look.
You can do the whole course, not just the near media co-op module. The whole course online in your own time, anytime over the next year, is it?
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be there. Yeah. It's online. Yeah, so anybody can do it. Yeah, and in your own time. Overall, it takes about 7 hours. Obviously, depending on people's speed reading and how interested they are in different sections. There's links to different videos, which are then analysed and different things. So if you watch all the content, to do the whole course, if you look at all the content and videos and bits and pieces that it's linked to, it's there for anybody. Obviously, it's tailored towards teachers, but I think anybody would get, the way, if you have an interest in this topic at all, I think there's something there, or you could even just, have a look and see if there's bits and pieces that might be of interest. So it's all there in different languages.
Do you have to register, or can you just look at it in your own time, or what's the
No, you can look at it in your own time. Yeah.
We get myself, actually. Yeah.
I'll do, absolutely, and let me know what you think. Hopefully you'll agree with some of my opinions on it. And if you do, as I say, we're welcome. We welcome feedback, because it's still a work in progress. So if there's things you think can be improved, we'd love to hear it.
Is Corsa says kunas on man comer side a hiskent no better kunas a man comer side a uside is clown is part then tunskadal or pokshin media education without borders. So better well is a man comer side on a osco to gun choran heis on with a tar guest. So Mata Sivot it's a man comer side good generalta August kunas a wilmid ag úsáid agus kunas a wilmid ag tishkent says an tishkent na man cumarsáid cos tá taobh hirirde agus tá kind faoin na lán stuff atá sa bhain sa mail an phobal faoi láthair mar better lethe de fake news agus kunas a úsáid an daoine óga Facebook no TikTok no stuff mar sin. So it's nice críoch lehan is slí amháin ach better go to now a hiskent faoin term media literacy. Now media studies mar a dúirtaoinis na seanlaonnta ach sin an sais rud atá gist. Better an rud is tábhachtaí faoi ná is rud in dhéanann tú hain. Elaine Múntóir is a Múntóir sais is cuasa féin díirithe. So déanann tú an idirlíon I déanaar agus tá na ceisna ann agus na freigraí ann agus gachrod. So sin an rud atá gist.
Okay, sin simil. Louis tú an sin gohfuil an go an cósa oscailte de Coolock ach ag an céine ceapan gur san cósa an cósa seo freisin nach bhfuil?
Well, it is slí aigen, tá sé oscailte de Coolock Carcalór ach tá sé tíirithe Múntóir an Gaeilge síos. So mas Múntóir who few Múntóir Berlin, Múntóir Tyrolis, no Múntóir man cumarsáid, few Múntóir Einrod. No Chagascore de Einrod de Daoine óga beidir. Bín simulté sin. Is slí aigen is sais féin scrúdú faoin conas atá de chuid ólas faoin man cumarsáid. Agus conas atá de chuid ólas agus mátá tú ag múnú an man cumarsáid de Daoine óga. So is slí aigen is sais refresher the chuid skill in the hand agus fecin céná tú bhfuil na barnaí I the chuid skill in the. Mar hampla bí misir féin ag núnú man cumarsáide le macléin atá denmh céim san iiriseoireacht ach fós féin tá aláin ann bhí misir ag fáil mission ag fecin ar na barnaí atá a muchuid ólas. So sin sais an taobh amháin taobh na múntóir de ach tá bert dégóra gom Soália agus bhí siad san na denmh freisin. Agus dúirtí go bhfuil piece of spray right there agus níl now go bhain si tanmhas an rud go léir ach piece de an seochas an siúd bhí siad sásta go leir mar just gná dégóir denmh
Louis tú gur is cósa Eorpach an cósa seo cé atá ag rachtá le go dtíreach a Ciarán?
Well éon tionscadal Eorpach faoin Erasmus bíonn sé sais co-oibrú do dramana agsúla ach an ciún seo de bhí dram sa Gearmáin sais an old school technoliacht I Dresden bhí siad san an ceanara agus bhí sais níor FM an las ceanara ar an tionscadal go léir agus bhí partnéirí eile ón Ungar agus an Spáin Massam, bhí an bert eile an gacheann eile an freisin.
Okay. Okay, cén sort skillne agus taí a bheith daltaí a rastalína an cósa ina dhé an cósa a bheith créicne acu an dáileat?
Well, is tócha go mé níos mó ólas agat sa faoin conas a Aoibhinn an man cumarsáid, conas a Aoibhinn an man sosialte agus tá lán béim an taobh cad is bríle fear agus bréagach ó thaobh an stuff atá tú a fechant nó ag éisteach leis nó a léamh agus cad iad sais na fointí caipéiseacha atá taobh hirir den stuff. Well is dúnta flecin daoine rud Facebook nó rud éigen ach ní tagan an ólas on Facebook, tagan an ólas ón áit éigen eile agus is Facebook an áit is just chun an stuff a roint. Well is tá Rackmór ar siúl faoi láthair san Austráil idir Google agus Realtas an Austráil. Mar níl Google sais tá Google maar tá tú a lurg ólas agus chuann tú isteach an chuann tú do lurg Google chun é á. Níl an ólas ag Google, tá Google ag fáil an ólas ón áit éigen eile agus a taspáint dit. So bín a lán ceistena sais chun tú dhéanamh sais níos fisrí is slí éigen chun ceistna cuairteoirt a bhfuil well conas a bhfuil isó a bhfuil si sin fear nó bréagach agus cá bhfuil an fointe agus cén fá go bhfuil an duine a cóir an pictiúir slí sin nó cén fá go bhfuil tú ag fechant an scéal sa slí sin. So tá lán sais bín an slí wit a déinte chun tú a bhela chun swineh faoin ólas agus an nuacht mar déirtha.
Tá seanna táhacht darlam go bhfuil ólas ag gná phobal agus múnseoirí faoin na man conversáide san léanta seo ceapanse. Okay, Ciarán, is cúrsa simúla is sular imíonn tú an féidir at sunraí teagháil an cúrsa a thuairt amach comhaile aon ólas eile a bhfuil agat a bheith a runach darnéisteoirí?
Yeah, cinnte. Well, tá an stuff le fáil say Media Education Without Borders. So MEWB.weebly, sin WEEBLY.com. So MEWB.weebly.com. Agus find tú on Steve Education, Media Education Without Borders. Agus tá along stuff eile ann. Agus better go, má tá tú géisteach leis agus ceapan tú better go bhfuil sé ro acadúil na rud mar sin. Is leis ní mar sin atá sé, is piece of spray é. Mas má leat sais, gná surveys a dhéanamh buin trílas. Agus tá tú ná sais a dhéiscint mar sais slot tawas faoin de chud ólas hain. Better go gapan tú gur sanolíú ach gan áras go bhfuil Powell an seo idir chud ólas an seothas an siúd. Agus is sto go freisin sa lá tá nniuán. Tá sé antáhaach min feicimid gach cás timpeall an down better is chunas a bhfuil daine agúsáid Twitter. Agus gan áras má tá tú smuoine faoin Twitter is an ar uachtar an Trump agus an slíonar ó eisian agus Twitter. So is leis ceistena faoin sin agus mar dúirt mé ceap mé now better is an 6 duine atá mise a ceap mé gur 6 piece of spray of an freisin.
Okay, nóir thuúla méid faoin gcórsa ar dús fiosach smuoineh go bheadh sé cosúla a rangana ar Zoom agus go raibh ort an córsa ar fád a dhéanamh ach ní gád is féidir leat na ábhar a fiúchálagus é dhéanamh it an féin.
Cinnte, yeah, agus tá 6 capital ann ag fecinn there, ag fecinn na rudí éagsúil ón man cumarsáide de gná, so better is slí amháin tá nuachtán nó telefís agus an slí eile is just a man sosiálta agus is slí eile is díirithe ar dégóirí nó rud éigen. So ní gaiithú é go léir dhéanamh like tá better go bhfuil seach nó 8 uair chun é go léir dhéanamh ach just peoch amach píosa simú agus buin tríal sin.